The current weather time here in Texas Valley, West Virginia is 6:03 a.m. You're listening to the sounds of smooth jazz on the only radio station in town. Just kidding. I thought about that on the way from home from the gas station. I was like, there needs to be a radio station in this town. Because there ain't. I think I should run a radio station and just play whatever I want to. Like today it's country. Tomorrow is jazz. Whatever. Good morning. Good morning. It's Monday. I think it's Monday. It seems to be Monday. I got sleep in my eyes. Good morning. I got up, put on my clothes, and went and got some cigarettes because I've been without them for 2 days. There's a little baby crying on the back porch next door. It's not mine. It's the neighbor's. She's an early riser like me. I can't blame her, though, at all for that, because tit for tat. But anyway, tit for that. But good morning. Good morning. So, thanks to the unnamed angel at my show who asked to remain anonymous, I've never seen anybody Frankenstein a Gibson guitar in less than 2 hours, but we'll just call you Travis Barker. Thank you for fixing my guitar. I'm glad you had a simple plan to do it. He literally put a neck through, or a screw through the neck of my guitar and one right square through the nose, and now the headstock will not fall off. Because it looked like somebody took that guitar and just went like this and took the neck off. It's like, it's not a chicken, it's a Gibson. So, I cried. My emotion lights are on and off because I'm trying to stay still. I cried. I haven't restrung it yet. I'm hoping it's still playable because that is my livelihood, is that guitar. And the pressure has been so intense this week with the weather, it snapped the damn neck. And I have it tuned to open D. That's how much the pressure was on that neck. Snapped that headstock up like a damn fiddle. Oh, I was mad. I could have done more damage to it if I took it and threw it across the room into a bonfire. Oh, God, I broke my heart. But anyway, it's all in one piece now. We haven't put strings on it. But keep your fingers crossed and say a little prayer that Gibby is going to be okay, because I literally got rid of every single guitar in my divorce except for 2 of them. And that's the one that I decided to play on. So, that's where I'm at this morning. A little sick to my stomach about the guitar. But, what can you do? Thank goodness for Travis Barker for fixing it. She must have heard about my guitar. Anyway, so I made a little boy cry at the gas station this morning. I did not mean to. That was not my intention. I walked in and I said, good morning. And he said, hello. And I said, I need 3-pack of Marlboro Menthol Lights and a couple pack of Marlboro Ultra Lights. And he came over with 3 packs of Marlboro Lights and 2-pack of Marlboro Menthol Ultra Lights. And I was like, I know it's early, darling. Let's pay attention. 3 of these, 2 of these. He went, oh, my bad. And I was like, no big deal. I said, you ain't colorblind, are you? He said, no. And I was like, okay, good. I said, because I did make a little boy cry once. I went and ordered that. I went, 2-pack of Marlboro Menthol Lights, 2-pack of Marlboro Ultra Lights. He just turned around and stared at the cigarette case like. And then he looked back at me and I'm like, what? And he just walked off. No cigarettes, no conversation, just wandered off. And I was like, so a few minutes later, another manager came up and she goes, what did you need? And I said, 2-pack of Marlboro Menthol Lights and 2-pack of Marlboro Ultra Lights. She goes, he's colorblind. And I was like, what? She goes, that little boy that was just up here at the counter, he's colorblind. He don't know which cigarettes those are. And I was like, and y'all put him in the cigarette aisle? I'm glad I didn't order American Spirits. He'd been here all day. No idea. No idea. If you're colorblind, don't work in the cigarette aisle. That seems like a handicap that you would mention before your job is dependent on what color cigarettes are. I don't understand. I don't understand. Anyway. It was just really funny. I was like, I did not mean to make that little boy cry. but maybe that's not the position that he needs to be in with the disability that he has. And trust me, being colorblind is a disability. I used to date a guy that wouldn't know rainbow if it bit him in the ass. Bless its heart. No idea what color stuff was. He always dressed real nice, but he always dressed real colorful. And I was like, I just thought he had crazy style, and turns out he's colorblind. I had no idea that he was wearing a brown belt with blue slacks. Like, no idea. No idea. I was like, I just thought he was just eclectic. Turns out he just had no idea what he was wearing. You don't know. It's one of those things you don't really think about. Like, there are people that are colorblind. Like, my Uncle Wiley's colorblind. And I'm like, how do you know what you're missing, man? That's how I feel like we'll all be when we get to heaven. Like, we all get to heaven and we'll be like, wow. Colors I ain't never seen before. Like, I know, right? It's crazy. Oh, my gosh, I've got to wake up. I literally slept all day yesterday. I didn't do shit. I slept all day. We got home from Lexington about 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. Normally we spend the night, but I had to get home. So we got home. And before the sun even came over the mountain, I went down there and opened the chicken door, and I'm like, I'm not getting back up with you sons of guns. Like, you can just get up and walk outside when you're ready. So they did that. And I went to bed, and I woke up at 3 o'clock, and I made Sean eggs and bacon and cinnamon rolls. Yeah. And we ate like pigs. And fried taters. I was like, and I made something else, fried taters. And he ate and I ate, and then we went back to bed. And then we woke up at 8 o'clock and called Dad and wished him happy Valentine's Day. Happy Father's Day. So you mad that I didn't come home today? And he was like, no, it's rained all day. We couldn't do shit anyway. It's just a day. So we'll celebrate next weekend. Because every time I go home, it's Father's Day or Mother's Day. Like, we go do something fun, or we sit around and talk, and I love it. I'm now happy to report that we have had 3 eggs this week, all from the same little phoenix hen. Hermione has pulled her weight and has laid 3 eggs. Before I leave for Montana, I'll have enough for a whole dozen. So excited. I have to wake up. I woke up this morning and there was a little raccoon eating my corn on the porch. I was like, good morning. The check's out. And there was a squirrel eating my corn. Not the corn that's in the bag, the corn that's in the ground. And I was like, can everybody just stay out of my corn, please? So y'all really jumped on the Sarah Beth Terry train, and I appreciate you. If you're brand new and you've never seen me before, we've never had a cigarette on the porch, welcome. Glad to have you. Good to know you. Love to know where you're watching from and how you found me. Did you know that I also do music? Did you know that that is what my primary source of income is? The other night I was at my show in Lexington, Kentucky, and this woman kept staring at me, and I was like, what's up? She goes, I want to meet you. And I was like, everybody does. She goes, I've been following you since Kung Flu Fighting. I was like, what? Like, you've been following me for like 5 years? Hello. Nice to meet you. Thank you for your support. She said, we were coming in from St. Louis on our way to Manassas, Virginia. We just decided to stop here randomly and spend the night on the way home because the weather was bad. And I thought, I know that voice. Who is that? She said, we come in here. And I was like, that's Sarah Beth Terry's cigarette mom. And I was like, what are the chances? She's like, really, what are the chances? We sat and had a big time. So I was really glad to meet Stephanie and her husband, Michael, both, and I hope that they had a safe trip back to Virginia, and I look forward to seeing them next month when we play in Harrisonburg for the 4th of July. But it was really cool because I was like, well, hello. Nice to meet you. You never know. The Lord works in mysterious ways. And me and Sean came up with the theory the other night that, okay, my guitar broke the moment we got there. Then my microphone stand broke in half. In half. No fixing it. So that was fun to start out with. And I was like, okay, it's okay. It's just a hiccup. And then Sean got the drum set together. And the hi-hat cymbals turned inside out. First time that he put them on the stand. It was like, okay. And then the bass drum kicker, the bass pedal, just flew across the room. And I was like, okay. And then I heard crack. And the cymbal just fell plumb off the stand. I was like, I figured it out. You cannot put that much negative energy into the atmosphere without it affecting everything else. And all Saturday was, if you took a sign out to your courthouse lawn to bitch about a king that doesn't exist, you're to blame for my guitar. You cannot put that much negative energy into the atmosphere and it not ricochet on somebody else. There's debris from tornadoes 200 miles away from that tornado touchdown, okay? That's what happens. Put good into the world. Because all you did was prove that we are no longer part of England. We've had no King's Day every 4th of July since 1776. Thanks for finally joining the program. And for 4 friggin' years, you had a bumbling idiot sitting in the office, basically with somebody's hand up his ass pretending he's a puppet. We finally get a businessman back in there who's done this job before, knows that he can do it, knows that he's good at it, knows we're going to be in a better economy, and y'all are throwing a duck fit. What were you trying to accomplish? Other than taking up space and taking up air and wasting poster board, what the hell were you trying to accomplish? Other than keeping Walmart in business and making Christy Walton the richest woman in the world besides Melania Trump, what are you doing? What was your end goal? Does anybody know? Did you think that Trump would get word of it and be like, you guys are right, I need to get down. I didn't mean to be born on the same day as the army. Really had no choice in that whatsoever. But obviously, I need to go back to being a billionaire and let you all run the country. You had your chance. You ran us in the ground. Everybody had COVID. Nobody has any money. A bunch of cartel people are in the country illegally. We're fixing it. He's doing exactly the job that 77 million Americans and 312 electoral votes said he was going to do. But if you don't like the fact that we have a fair election in this country and that you can breathe our American air and that you can protest and exercise your First Amendment rights as a citizen of this country, then go to wherever the hell you want to. Pull that shit in a country with a king. Pull that shit in a country with a dictator, an actual dictator. Go to China or Korea or try that shit. Go to Russia and pull an old King's Day and see how long you last in the Red Square. Just, be a little thankful for what you got. Because y'all are all pissed off that we're at Disney World and you ain't seen Mickey Mouse shit. We don't like Mickey Mouse. We don't think he should run Disney World. You know how much say Mickey Mouse actually has in Disney World? None. 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 Walt Disney drew him. He's an invention of somebody else. It doesn't rule anything. So have a little perspective. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit. And every time I talk about it, I sneeze. So, just a little heads up. I'm glad y'all had your temper tantrum. Y'all showed up and showed out. Good job. Sorry that it rained and pissed and poured on you because the Lord said there's better things to do with your time besides standing in the middle of the street fighting over something that you can't do nothing about. So, I think all of your energy would have been better spent in trying to write letters to your congressmen and letters to your politicians rather than make big poster boards for people that are driving by that had to go to work on Saturday and didn't have time to participate in your temper tantrum. Y'all are the most disorganized bunch of people I've ever seen in my entire life. It's like watching chickens hold a protest. Some of them are over there in the corn, some of them are just laying down, one of them over there is trying to screw a turkey. No organizational skills whatsoever. I've seen better organization, kindergartners trying to file out for a fire drill. I don't know. But, like Patty Loveless once said, you can feel bad if it makes you feel better. I don't care. So, turns out that I have a green thumb. Did not know this. Did not know that gene passed down from my papa. But I saw a little thing that if you take the suckers off of your tomato plants, like your tomato plants, they'll grow up and you'll have a big branch that comes out at the bottom. And then every now and again you get that little 45-degree angle. That's called a sucker. And you can pinch him off and stick him in a glass. And within 4 or 5 days, if you're doing right, he'll grow roots. And if you do that the right way, then a week and a half later, you'll have all these extra tomato plants. Anybody need any tomato plants? Because now I know how to propagate. And I have 26 different varieties of tomatoes. I don't even really like tomatoes. But I'm from the South and we're supposed to wear funny hats and grow shit in the dirt. So that's what I do. So if you need a tomato plant, I don't know what kind of tomato it is. I just know that it is planted and it will yield some kind of tomato. So if you need a tomato plant, you can get one right out of my garden for 3 whole doll hairs. I'm selling my little seedlings before I put them in the dirt. If you want some of them, let me know. But they take off like wildfire. I got tomatoes coming out my ears, and I know in here in about another 2 weeks, I'm going to have to get some cans and start making some tomato sauce. So, you can start your own tomato plants, or you can buy some of mine. Sean said, what's your ultimate plan with this little baby farm? And I was like, I don't really think I have a plan. I just wanted to have my own food in case we ran out. That's pretty much it. And, you know, have enough to can and have enough to have a little farm stand. That's my plan is I've got a cut and rose garden and I've got a cut and flower garden. And I'm going to do little bouquets for $5 a piece, like take some flowers home to your sweetheart or whatever. And if you need bee balm or herbs or, you know, I'm going to do fresh herbs. I'm going to have tomatoes and corn and peppers and squash and zucchini and onions and carrots before too long. So I'm looking at it going, I'm just going to have a little like honor farm stand out at the end of my road and be like, do you need some eggs? Or perhaps some dried herbs. And that will be my little side hustle to help me put towards the repair of Gibby. Because even though she's fixed, I feel like she's going to need an overhaul. It's like we had a car wreck, we got the dings out, and we got to take it to the shop to make sure that, you know, we don't have any internal damage. So that's where I'm at next. And I'm telling you, I don't know what to do. Maybe y'all can help me. I used to have 25, 30 gigs a month. Now, granted, I was working for peanuts. Because there's plenty of people who will pay musicians $100 a night to be a human jukebox. Usually you get what you pay for, and they'll play the same 4 or 5 songs all night long, and it's really nothing to write home about. However, having done this for 25 consecutive years, my pay is a little higher than that now because I'm a professional. So now my gigs are a little more few and far between because bar owners just flat out refuse to pay entertainment. They just flat out do. They just won't. I know that you realize that your 25-cent wings and that your $2 beers is going to keep people coming in, but you get bored after a while, so you're going to need something to keep them entertained. That's usually why you hire me. I'm a comedian, I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, I'm a storyteller. I can keep the crowd entertained. Hell, I can even juggle, do a little bit of magic. I mean, hello, come on. But I'm like, so I get it that times are tight, but they're tight all over. And if you're going to pay your line cook $17 an hour to mess up some hamburgers, then you can pay your band what they're worth. And I'm not just saying me. I'm saying anybody who takes the time to learn their craft and perfect it enough to play it in public for 4 consecutive hours of entertainment deserves to be paid for it. You wouldn't ask somebody to come in here and wash dishes for the next 4 hours for free. You wouldn't ask somebody to come in here and wait tables for the next 4 hours for free. Well, you kind of do because you don't pay your waitresses shit. You don't. You see what I'm saying, though? I'm looking at it going, just because you hire me to entertain at your bar doesn't mean that I'm your employee. Think of me as like a subcontractor. You're contracting me out to do something at your place of business. I'm not on your payroll. I'm not clocking in. I don't have to move chairs. I don't have to wipe down tables. I don't have to rearrange furniture. I don't have to take orders. I don't have to go back to the back and cook. If at any point you think that that's my job as an entertainer, then you need to give me a W-2 and put me on the payroll. Because I can run this place with my eyes closed. Been doing this since I was a child. But if you have hired me to do exactly what you've hired me to do, which is sing and entertain your crowd, then I'm not going to sweep and mop. I'm not going to rearrange the stage. I'm not going to find all the pieces of the shit that you're supposed to have already set on the stage because you said it was a plug and play. I'm not going to reassemble everything that the band before the night before screwed up. Like, I'm not going to do that. Not unless you hire me as a tech. And then if you hire me as a tech and a roadie, then I'll be glad to tech and get it all together for you. But when I'm hired to come and plug and play for a job, and then I have to hunt down somebody to let me into a janitor's closet to get out a PV stand and a speaker, you don't have a sound system. You don't. I have a sound system. I have a really good sound system. I have Harbinger's QSCs, a big, huge crate with 32 channels. I got the whole 9 yards. Lights, setup, stage, whole 9 yards. That setup that goes with us in the trailer costs about $30,000. So if you don't have sound, we have sound. We'd love to bring our sound, set it up, be just like you're at a rock concert. But if you're just trying to skimp and save because all you've got is a Radio Shack boombox with a plug-in mic, I can't help you with that. Nobody's going to sound good on that. You get what you pay for. And I don't know why we got on this tangent, but I think it's important to know that there are musicians out there that are starving to death because you have bar owners who have a power trip. And that's okay. I just don't understand why we all can't work together. I don't understand why you have to cheapen other people's career choices just because they're not the same as your own. It's still a real job. It's a really hard job. I work at it 24 hours a day. There is no clocking out. But some people think because I don't clock in and have a punch card and don't have paid time off and health insurance and a retirement plan that it's not a real job. It's a very scary job. There's absolutely no security. You have to base your entire worth on what somebody else thinks that they can pay you. I think I'm worth $1 million. You mainly think I'm worth $275. And that's okay. But I'd love to see people go to the doctor and try to bargain their price with that. All I had was a head cold. I'm not paying $1,200. Well, you paid to see a doctor. Well, I paid her $500 and she didn't sing Wagon Wheel once. Well, you paid for a songwriter, not a jukebox. You know, things like that, that after a weekend of touring, and I talked to several of my, I won't say constituents, several of my peers that do this for a living too. And, you know, turns out sexism is still alive and well in this industry, even though we're accepting of everybody else. They're still having a hang up over the girls versus boys in the business. And, you know, that's all right. You know, we've added another category to the Grammys to be more inclusive. Now we have a contemporary country category and a traditional country category. And I'm like, what the hell's next? Participation trophies for everybody who wrote a song and didn't use a sample? All that you're doing is music laundering. That's what you're doing in Nashville right now, is music laundering. You're taking somebody else's song, washing it off, putting it in a new song, washing it off, putting it in a new song, washing it off, putting it in a new song, and hopefully that comes out clean with a Grammy in 2 or 3 years. It's music laundering. You got just as many original ideas as Hollywood does these days. I've seen more Batmans than I have seen country singers in the past 10 years. I'm like, what? How many Batmans do we need? How many Batmans how many Gotham cities are there? How many multiverses do we need? Because I grew up in the Michael Keaton Batman era and the Adam West Batman era. And then we started getting Ben Affleck and Christian, what's his name? It's too many Batmans. It's too many Spider-Mans. And then they put all Spider-Mans in one movie. And I'm like, that'd be like putting all 4 lead singers of the Steel Drivers together and be like, y'all hammer it out. Really? It's going to be weird as hell. It's odd. Just odd. Anyway. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be today. We're under a flood watch. There's a real heavy fog, so I don't know if it's going to rain this livelong day or if it's just going to be kind of hit and miss. I didn't check the weather. I slept right through it. I'm not the person to check. I never was a chief meteorologist. I made squall at best, but never could make chief. It's like, how is the weather? I'm not a meteorologist. Best I can do is go, it's going to rain. My hips hurt, my knees hurt, yeah, it's going to rain. I like my shirt. I wish it fit better. Respect the locals. That has so many levels after this weekend. But happy birthday to President Trump. He's now 79 years old. Oldest sitting president that we've had. It's pretty neat, considering that the median age of most people in America is under 70 because we keep stuffing them through full of COVID vaccines and Mounjaro. So, you know. I love that we're in a day and time where you can actually take a shot to get skinny. However, there's a big tell, just like there is with the gastric and bariatric surgery. You can tell when somebody's on Ozempic. You can tell when somebody's on Mounjaro. They get this kind of like drawn, like a balloon that's losing its air too quick kind of face. And I'm like, you know, one of my friends did that stupid bariatric gastric bypass surgery when we was in college. She was one of the first ones to do it. And she got real skinny real quick, but then she kind of looked like there was way too much skin and not enough body to go on. And so she kind of looked kind of crepey and droopy for a couple years. And I'm like, you know, if you diet and exercise and drink water and get your sugar under control, that skin will be elasticized and will go back to where it needs to go. And then you won't be walking around with an extra 20 pounds of skin. I'm just saying, if you do it the right way, of course, I'm one to talk. I've lost 34 pounds since me and Sean got married. Haven't taken any pills, drugs, shots, or patches. I have got up and walked my ass off and worked with chickens every single morning. I'm just saying, there's ways to do this without putting more poison in your body, as I sit here smoking a cigarette. This is the worst poison I put in my body. This is it. This is it. I take no medicine. I take no Tylenol, no Advil, no Benadryl, no ibuprofen, no prescription drugs. No. If it grows out of the ground, it's probably all right. This is the worst thing that I do. I don't drink. I don't do any hard drugs. I smoke. You know, when I have a bad headache, then I sit on something sharp. If I've got bad stomach ache, then I go out here and grab a handful of these herbs and make myself a poultice or a tea. If I don't feel right, I'll have some peppermint tea and smoke a joint and everything will be all right. Just telling you, there's other ways to do things besides running to the pharmacy and taking whatever the hell they put in a bottle for you. Everybody's like, but you're smoking. Yep. Sure as hell I am. But completely unvaccinated, survived COVID, my hair ain't falling out, teeth ain't falling out, I don't have pancreatitis from taking Mounjaro, I don't have to be Narcaned for snorting something, shooting something, taking something that I shouldn't take. You know, so, I mean, things could be worse. In the meantime, I just try my best to make up for the fact that I smoke cigarettes like a freight train by trying to eat a little healthy, going for walks, drinking a lot of water. You know, you have to even it out. It's called moderation. Everything in moderation. You want to have a piece of cake? Have a piece of cake. You want to sit down and eat the whole cake and have a gallon of ice cream on top of it? No. You want to go home and have a couple beers after you've mowed the grass? Fine. You want to drink 30 of them and then whip up on your wife? No. No. You want to smoke a couple cigarettes and let some steam off? Fine. You want to sit there and chain smoke a carton of Pall Malls while you fuss at your kids? No. No. Everything in moderation. Everything. If you live by that rule, you don't have to worry about much. Because again, moderation. That includes everything. I only complain in moderate amounts. I really think it might rain. I really do. Anyway, but I got up early this morning. I was out of cigarettes. I have to get this carport cleaned up. There was a raccoon eating my corn and a piece of pizza that I left out here in a box that I thought I threw away. I don't know. In the meantime, we are selling our four-wheeler. If you know anybody that wants a nice four-wheeler, we just don't have room for it. Works great. We've had it since it was brand new, but we don't need it. There's just not enough of us to ride everything we've got. So I'm like, I'd rather have a golf cart. This thing's more my speed so I can haul shit. I really don't need a four-wheeler. So that's our next plan, is to find somebody who would like to have a four-wheeler and needs to rehome this one to a place that you need to use it at. So if you know anybody, holler at your group. In the meantime, I got to get off here and get this carport cleaned up because it looks like we're having a yard sale. I mean, most definitely are not yet. And I got to clean my kitchen and do some laundry and clean out that truck and get ready to leave for Montana in the next 9 days. 8 days. 8 days. 8 days. It's a long trip. 3,800 miles. So, trying to get my stuff in order. And if I was going to be anywhere near the Gibson plant in Bozeman, Montana, which is another 9 hours from where I'm going to be, I'd take this son up there and be like, just fix this while I'm here up here for this horse trail. But it's too far to drive. I'll just drop it off in Nashville. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. The Lord is going to provide. He always does. And whenever something looks like it's a dead end, that usually means that I'm supposed to take a detour somewhere else. So, you know, I'm working on it. But in the meantime, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for following me. Thanks for watching me. I know that you don't always agree with everything I say, and you probably don't like watching everything that I do, but that's fine. I'm glad that you're here for the trip because I'm just as surprised by what's going on as you are. So, in the meantime, I'm going to try to figure out my own crap today, get my house in order, get these chickens figured out, And I got to build a couple of nesting boxes today, and I got to get that brooder out of there. I'm telling you, there's always something to do. It's never boring. It's never boring. So, I have 2 little wrens. They're building a nest on my carport, which is adorable. I'm not even mad about it. And my Tabasco peppers are going nuts, so I got to get them in some sauce. I hear my little bird going across the top, and then he goes in the little hole and goes into his nest up there. It's so crazy. I love it. So, it is now almost, 20 till 7. So if you're getting up and getting ready for work, thanks for joining me. If you're like me and just up and at 'em with the chickens, good morning. We'll have a cigarette. We'll talk about it. But you just never know. Just never know. I was telling the guy at the gas station a story this morning, and I wish I could remember what story it was because it was really, really funny. We was talking about jobs we used to have. Oh, that's what it was. I said, you talked about putting your foot in your mouth. I said, the first time I ever worked at Famous Dave's, Smyrna, Tennessee, about 2006, 2007. Everybody in the kitchen spoke Spanish. Everybody. From the line cook to the main cook to the sous chef to the dishwasher. Everybody spoke Spanish. Well, me having 6 years of conversational Spanish under my belt with college and high school, I just jumped right in because I didn't really learn the proper Spanish. Me and the Spanish teacher were just talking slang all the time because I had a really good concept of the language. So I went in just immediately, ¿Cómo está? Beth, blah, blah, blah. And now they're like, hey, mommy, ¿qué pasa? Blah, blah. And I'm just talking, carrying on, and I finally meet everybody. And so far, I've been like, hi, what's your name? And they're like, ¿Cómo está? And I'm like, okay, we're speaking Spanish. I'm there. All right. So I get all the way down to the guy that's fixing salads. And he's just cute as a bit, little short thing, tan as he can be. And I said, hola, ¿cómo está? He went, I ain't Mexican. I just look Mexican. He said, I'm from Beckley, West Virginia, and my name's Cyrus. And I was like, mucho gusto. Like, I didn't, throws you off when you've met, like, ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo está? Hello. What? Throws you off. You know, I was already in, like, translation mode. And I love that little kid. I mean, he was my buddy the whole time I worked there. But it was so funny that first day. I was just, like, really into it. Was fitting in. And then that guy's like, I ain't Mexican. I just look Mexican. I was like, good to know. But I've been cracking up here lately. I don't know if the Lord's trying to give me a sign, but the last 3 or 4 days that I've just turned on random shit on the History Channel, it's talked about Babylon. It's talked about Saddam Hussein's palace that he built to overlook Babylon. Talked about Nebuchadnezzar and how he built the Hanging Gardens of Babylon and how Hussein screwed it all up by building on top of it because he thought he was the grandson of Nebuchadnezzar. And I'm like, what Nebuchadnezzar, that king that threw Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego into the furnace and then God saved him? Yep, same one. So I'm looking at all this going, there's a reason why this keeps popping up on my radar. The Lord's talking to us. And I hope to God that you know your Creator. I really do. I pray every single day that you know the Lord and that you're comfortable with Him and that He's comfortable with you and that y'all have a good relationship because I feel like most of y'all are going to get to meet Him in this lifetime. I feel like we need to keep an eye rather on what's going on in our own country. We need to kind of keep a weather eye over at Iraq and Iran and Israel because I feel like this is all fixed to turn on the Holy Land because it's biblical. And when it does, I feel like everybody's going to join in. When everybody joins in, I feel like that's going to usher in World War III, and then we're all going to be left to fend for our own devices because right now they're just trying to divide us from within, and that's easier to take over a country in the event of a war that's global-wide. So I just, things that I worry about when I get up early in the morning and talk to God. If you don't know Him, get to know Him because He's going to be here before you know it. Okay? Pray for our neighbors. And I don't just mean the ones up there and down there. I mean the ones across the pond. Things is bad. Things is bad, and I think that they're trying to divide us over here and get us all pissed off at each other that way that we won't join up and fight the actual good fight. So, maybe have a little perspective that it's not all about you. It's not all about what you want. It's not all about what America is fighting about. It's about what we need to, get our heads on a swivel about, okay? I'm usually right about this stuff. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm usually right about this stuff, and I got this real sinking feeling that we need to go ahead and bury the hatchet with the ones we got problems with here at home because we're going to fix to fight a bigger war. And it's not just going to be physical, it's going to be economical, it's going to be metaphysical, it's going to be supernatural, it's going to be spiritual. You need to be ready. And recognize the bait. Recognize when the devil's working on you. Recognize when he sends a bot into your live video and says that you're a trailer park whore that needs to find Jesus. I already know Jesus. I don't live in a trailer park, never have, and I'm not a whore. So you need to check your information. At best, I'm a tease, and I lived in a camper. So, do your job. Do your research. Don't be like ABC News and just making shit up, because then Trump will sue you for libel and win. And that's why your ratings are plummeting on The View. Quit making make-believe. You're the news. I don't know why that's so hard for y'all to understand. There used to be integrity in journalism and MLA format, and you had to back it up and reference it and know what the hell you were talking about. Now you can just make whatever you want to up. I heard that Trump likes to take milk butter baths all the time, and that's why his skin is so supplely soft. You're just making shit up. You're just making shit up. I said that one day. I said, do you know that Dolly Parton takes 4 buttermilk baths a week? And Sean goes, really? I said, I don't know, but it feels true, doesn't it? I'm just making it up. But it feels true. Feels true. Maybe that's how ABC does their news. It just feels true. I don't believe anything from anybody anymore. I believe half of what I hear and none of what I see. And I'm looking at it going, I need a really good discernment right now. I need a spirit of discernment so I can be able to tell the bullshit from the truth. And there's a lot of, not even wolves in sheep's clothing, just sheep in sheep's clothing. And I'm like, how'd you get elected? Like, what village is missing their idiot right now and put you in power? I don't understand. I think we need to send some of the politicians from Florida to California to straighten that shit out. They seem to know what they're doing down there. I'm just looking at it going, we should help each other, right? I mean, it is the United States of America. Could be wrong. But it's important to have convictions, and it's important to have gumption, and it's important to stand up for what you believe in, but make sure that you're standing up for something that is worth a shit. I doubt there was a protest on Washington for Pringles. Perfect chips in a tennis ball can. Nobody cares. Just, if you're going to fight for something, make sure it's worth fighting for. And all if you're doing is just making noise, then sit down. Hell, I've heard plenty of bands that just make noise on Friday and Saturday nights. I'm like, sit down. I'm not saying I'm the best that you've ever heard, but I'm better than most. I'm better than some of the shit that I've heard here lately that y'all are promoting and sharing and tagging and shoving down my throat. And I'm like, just because everybody's listening to it doesn't mean it's good. So, I encourage you to maybe put down the Big Mac and go look for some prime rib. But if you've never had prime rib and all you've ever had is McDoubles from McDonald's, then you're going to be blown the way when you actually have real meat. Just saying. Never settle for a substitute. I know a lot of y'all got used to, settling for the knockoffs because you shop at Temu and Wayfair and wherever else. And I'm like, that's knockoffs. You realize that? You're basically buying a Fendi bag out of somebody's trunk in a gas station parking lot. But whatever. It's all about appearances. It's all about facade. You get your money's worth. So when that Fendi bag falls apart the first time that you take it on a date, you'll think maybe I should have invested the comma in buying the real thing instead of paying $27 for this at a Shellmart parking lot out of the back of somebody's truck. Just you get what you pay for. Now, I'm all about finding a bargain at a yard sale or an estate sale or even the Goodwill, but I know the difference between real and fake because brass is not magnetic and you can ding crystal. But, other than that, it's just a bunch of knockoffs. But it's Monday morning. It's almost 7 o'clock. I have a lot of work to do today if I'm going to be a productive member of society because I have to make up for the slack of shit that nothing got done this weekend. Because I can just about bet that there's 5 or 6 loads of laundry still sitting in somebody's utility room in a sink full of dishes because they were too busy making poster boards about a president that's not going to step down for another 3.5 years. So, use your time wisely. You don't get a whole lot of it. Don't waste it. But I encourage you, if you really think that the powers that be are listening to you, then write a letter. Don't make a poster. Hellur. Because best they're going to do is hang that on the refrigerator and be like, look what little Cindy did. She don't like the president. Oh. Write a letter to your congressman. Write a letter to your senator. Write a letter to the president. He can read. Speaking of, I got so tickled. One of my friends is back on the dating pool again, and she was talking to me the other day, and she's like, I'm so sick of people sending me nude pictures. I was like, nudes are played out. Nudes are all played out. Don't send a picture of your junk to somebody else. Send them a video of you reading aloud from a book so they know you're not a dumbass. Send them a video of you figuring out the tip without having to get out your calculator at dinner. Like, practical skills that will come into play in your relationship. Because, I've been with Sean for 2 years, and I wasn't like, look at his junk. No. Have some dignity and self-respect. Good Lord. Some things should be kept to yourself. Not everything that you... me and Sean are a very public couple, but you've never seen any one of us naked online. And you won't. So I'm looking at it going, you should keep some kind of semblance of decency. Even though you're very public, you can still have private respect, But everybody thinks that because you're online, you have to share everything. That's why you see all these little Instagram influencers wearing nothing but some tooth floss and a couple of patches. And I'm like, yet you wonder why we have a Me Too movement and why sexual assault is through the roof. Probably because your mama didn't knock the taste out of your mouth and go, you're not leaving the house like that. I love all these girls that are like, my body, my choice. I'm like, yeah, but you're wearing like floss and you don't want anybody to look at you. If you want anybody to look at you, buy a habit. Join a convent. But don't pull that whole, I am not a piece of meat, when every single picture on Instagram is a picture of your tits or your ass. I got better things to look at. Of course, I'm one of those few Americans that think that porno should be banned. I just feel like that should be completely wiped out. I just never have understood the fascination, never have understood the industry, never have understood the need to partake in that industry. Don't understand it. That's for people who don't have good imaginations. So, never understood that. So if it were up to me, I would outlaw every bit of that. If I were the president, I'd be like, here's what we're going to do. No more fentanyl, period. No more opioids, period. And while we're at it, just no porn. Use your imagination, read a book. But, I think that's laziness. I think that porn is lazy. I think that porn and all the things affiliated with it being print material and or movies, motion pictures, whatever, I think every bit of that is smut. And I think that it just leads to hell. You can agree with me if you want to. You don't have to agree with me if you don't want to. That's my opinion. It's my page. I don't like it. It's not welcome in my house. It's not welcome in my family. So, that's how I feel about it. Dawn's going to work. I love mornings like this when you can tell where everybody's going to work because the air is so thin. Like, that's like half a mile away and I could hear that truck start up. Clear morning. But anyway, now that I've got on my soapbox and preached to you on a Monday morning instead of a Sunday, I'm going to get off here and wash the dishes and do some laundry and maybe let the chickens out to play in the backyard. Depends on if it's going to rain or not, but I probably need to check the weather first. In the meantime, I've got a good arterial flow and I've got my coffee rolling. I've had a couple of cigarettes. It's time to get my day started. In the meantime, wherever you are in the world today, I hope that you're doing the best to do the best. You know what I'm saying? Like, give your best. Make today awesome. Kick it right in the face. It's your day. Ruin it how you want to. But try to put good into the world today. That's your goal. That's your mission. Try to say something nice to a stranger. Try to smile to somebody that needs one. Try. We don't all have to get along all the time, but the best you can do is try. If you go into the world just ready to raise hell, sit down, go home, try again. But if you go into the world today and you see somebody that's just having a kind of a crap day, be like, hey, how are you today? Or, hope you're having a good day. Or, hey, I like them shoes. Or, takes 2 seconds out of your day to make somebody else's better. It really does. You'd be surprised what a kind word can do. But you can also be surprised what a bad word can do. So if you have a bad attitude, that's just as contagious and it sets up the atmosphere and then my guitar breaks because of it. So, put good into the world and then it don't ricochet and fall on the people that don't deserve it. So, you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. So, just try not to break no eggs, Just chill. It's like I said the other day, my new thing is calling men hormonal. And they take it well, like, none of the time. And I think that's because they're so hormonal. I believe that. So, all right, friends, 10 till 7, you have your missions. Be nice to each other. Get to know God if you don't already. He's just hanging out waiting for you to talk to him, you know. So, it's not like he's hard to find. But all you have to do is talk to him. He'll talk back. You got to listen. And he'll send you signs. You just got to have your eyes open. And that's what I've been watching for, is that there's a lot of signs coming at me, and I'm like trying to decipher and discern and figure out what's going on. So, in the meantime, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for us. I'm trying to have a good day, trying to get my stuff together. If you need some music this weekend, we have, I think we have Saturday night available, so holler at us. We'd love to come see you before we head to Montana. And that's all I have for you this morning. Get on SarahBethTerry.com for all the details. Be nice to each other. Keep your Bibles open, your powder dry, and your head on a swivel. And as always, friends, I love you. And I'm praying for you. And I hope that you have the best day ever. And I'm Sarah Beth Terry Courtney. And you're not. Bye.